It's Friday night. You log on and boom, you're at a rooftop party in space. The DJ's a robot, your bestie's a dragon in a crop top, and someone just offered you a virtual pizza shaped like a meme. Welcome to the Metaverse, where you can party in Tokyo, Paris, and Middle-earth, all before bedtime. Gen Z is living for it. Millennials still trying to find the log out button. Smash that like and subscribe to GenShift, where we decode digital culture one virtual rave at a time. Let's plug in. What is the Metaverse really? I just want to do something I haven't done in the regular world and may not be able to do in the regular world, says one 19-year-old explaining why the Metaverse draws him in. So what is this Metaverse really? And why is everyone from CEOs to teenagers talking about it? In plain English, the Metaverse is basically a 3D social internet, an internet you can step inside and interact with. Instead of scrolling through profiles or chatting in text boxes, you navigate virtual spaces as an avatar, doing things with others in real time. Think of it like upgrading from a 2D photo album to a full-blown theme park where you and your friends can meet up. It's immersive and interactive, more like strolling through a digital city than browsing a website. If that still sounds abstract, picture this in a metaverse world. You don't just post a status about going to a concert. You and your friends attend a virtual concert together in real time. You're not watching somebody's video of a ski trip, you're skiing with them on a simulated mountain. In short, the Metaverse blurs the line between being online and being present. It's not a single app or game, but a network of virtual worlds and experiences that one day might all connect. Now, how is this different from plain old social media? Traditional social media is like a bulletin board. People post text, photos, videos on profiles. It's mostly 2D and scrollable. The Metaverse, by contrast, is more like a shared space, 3D environments you can walk around in. On Facebook or TikTok, you have a profile picture. In the Metaverse, you have a whole avatar you control. Social media connects people, but usually through content on a feed. The Metaverse connects people by letting them physically, albeit virtually, do things together, whether it's exploring a fantasy world or just sitting on a virtual couch chatting. One easy analogy, if social media is a group text, the Metaverse is a hangout spot, a place you go into, not just an app you look at. To put it another way, Gen Z's Metaverse is what older generations might have dreamed of in sci-fi. Millennials dabbled in early versions. Remember Second Life or The Sims? Those early 2000s virtual worlds were like the Metaverse's first draft. But back then, most people still socialized on MySpace or MSN Messenger, basically text-based interfaces, maybe a custom profile page with some glitter graphics. Fast forward to now, technology caught up. Gen Z grew up with video and interactive media, so it's natural for them to be drawn to richer, more visual online experiences. The Metaverse takes that leap from profiles to places, from texts to experiences. In short, it's the next evolution of the internet, part playground, part social hub, part marketplace. And it's poised to redefine how this generation lives and socializes online. Gen Z and virtual hanging out. It's 8 p.m. on a Saturday. In 2005, a millennial teen might have been meeting friends at the mall or hopping on AIM to chat. In 2025, a Gen Z teen named Ava lounges on her bed, slides on a VR headset, and meets her squad in a virtual world. In one corner of her vision is a Discord call with their voices. In front of her, a neon-lit arcade that she and her 3 best friends are standing in. One friend's avatar is a 7-foot-tall astronaut. Another is basically an anime character with cat ears. They wander through digital streets, window shopping at pixelated stores, and joking around as if they were downtown. Except this downtown can be reset to a space station or a tropical island at the click of a button. This is their version of hanging out. And for Gen Z, it feels as natural as meeting up in person. Gen Z has been engaging in metaverse-like social spaces for years, often without calling it the Metaverse. Take Roblox, for example, a platform huge with Gen Z where millions of user-created games double as social hangouts. It's not just a kid's game, it's more like a community playground where friends meet up after school to play and socialize. Or consider how during the pandemic, high schoolers who missed prom and graduation didn't just sigh and log off. They rebuilt their schools in Minecraft and hosted virtual proms and ceremonies. A group of students in New York spent weeks constructing a block-by-block replica of their campus in Minecraft, just so they could walk the halls together again and graduate in person well in Pixel. That's a very Gen Z solution when real life shuts down, open a digital window. And what about Fortnite? To an outsider, Fortnite is just a video game, but to many Gen Z players, it's also a social venue. In 2020, rapper Travis Scott held a live concert inside Fortnite, and 12.3 million people showed up as avatars to watch it. Imagine, instead of buying a concert ticket and dealing with crowds, you and your friends log in your characters, dance in unison, and you're part of a massive virtual crowd witnessing a surreal planet-sized Travis Scott avatar perform. It was part concert, part collective experience, and it blew many people's minds. Gen Z was quick to say, why not? This is just another way to hang out. Fortnite, Minecraft, VR chat, Animal Crossing, even Zoom School. All these blurred the line between gaming and socializing. Here's something older generations might not realize. A lot of young people now spend more time socializing online than offline. One recent survey found that close to 50% of Gen Zs and Millennials say they interact with others more on social media than in real life, and about 40% socialize more in video games than in person. In other words, virtual hangouts are sometimes replacing physical hangouts. For a millennial, that might sound a bit dystopian. After all, they remember actual malls and movie theaters. But for Gen Z, it's not sad or weird. It's just how friendships work when your friends could be scattered across town or across the globe. They don't just FaceTime, they fire up multiplayer worlds and chat as they explore together. It's hanging out by doing stuff together online rather than just talking on the phone. A Gen Z friend group might spend a Friday night building a giant mansion in Minecraft or attending a Roblox party the same way older generations might have gone bowling or played cards in someone's basement. Different medium, same social vibes. Of course, that doesn't mean Gen Z never leaves the house. They do. It means their social life has an extra dimension. Millennials can remember sitting in chat rooms or endless text threads. Gen Z takes it a step further with avatars interacting in real time. It's like the difference between reading about a place and actually visiting it. To them, the metaverse in its many forms is becoming the new third place. Not home, not school, but that other space where you relax with friends. The twist is now that space can be anywhere you want at any time with anyone who has an internet connection. Relationships and identity. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog or an anime sword fighter or a neon dragon. For Gen Z, that isn't a joke. It's kind of the point. Take a shy 16-year-old named Jason. At school, he's quiet, head down. But online, Jason becomes Nightblade, a confident adventurer in VR chat who hosts karaoke nights for friends from 4 different countries. Online, behind an avatar, Jason feels free. He can express sides of himself that he's too timid to show in person. In virtual spaces, a lot of Gen Z say they feel more themselves than they do offline. In one study, 52% of Gen Z gamers even said their true self comes out in the metaverse more than in real life. It sounds paradoxical. How can a cartoon avatar be more you than your real body? But consider online, you control how you look completely. You can choose an appearance that reflects your personality or your mood without the limits of genetics or society. Blue hair, cat ears, wings? No one bats an eye. When everybody is choosing how to represent themselves, a lot of real-world insecurities fade away. In fact, young people active in these spaces are 6 times more likely to describe themselves as introverts than extroverts, yet they thrive socially online. The metaverse can feel like a mask that paradoxically lets your true face show. Identity for Gen Z is fluid and creative in these virtual worlds. Remember how millennials curated the perfect MySpace angles or the coolest AIM screen names? That was the 2D starter pack for online identity. Gen Z has taken it to the next level. They curate whole personas. They might have one avatar that's cutesy and friendly in one game, and another that's edgy and mysterious in another. It's like having multiple alter egos, each suited to different friend groups or communities. Not entirely unlike how millennials might have had a professional LinkedIn versus a party-friendly Facebook back in the day. But now it's all in living 3D color. Virtual fashion is a huge part of this. Changing your avatar's outfit or hairstyle is a form of self-expression, and Gen Z invests real energy and money into it. In fact, more than half of Gen Z say styling their avatar is as or more important than styling themselves in real life. Digital drip is real. That limited edition virtual Gucci bag or those rare Fortnite skins can feel as valuable as a pair of Jordans did to a millennial teen. And it's not just about looking cool, it's about exploring identity. Want to see how it feels to present as a different gender? Or to dress in a style you're not brave enough to wear at school? Your avatar gives you that freedom in a judgment-free zone. Many Zoomers say that dressing up their avatars and experimenting online actually boosted their confidence offline. It's as if trying out identities in the metaverse helped them figure out who they are in the real world. Relationships have evolved too. Online friends are real friends to Gen Z. In a survey, 65% of Gen Z said their online relationships are just as meaningful as the ones face-to-face. They fall in love through screens and headsets as much as through hallway encounters. A Gen Z couple might meet in a VR dating app or a game like VR Chat. Well, essentially, they first connect as avatars in a virtual cafe or a fantasy forest. There are even dating platforms where you swipe on someone's avatar before you ever see their real face, focusing on personality and voice over looks. It sounds wild, but for a generation raised on digital interaction, it makes a strange kind of sense. They've seen millennial dating apps reduce love to a left or right swipe on a photo. Trying a whimsical approach with avatars is almost refreshing. Some even take it further. Ever heard of people getting married in the metaverse? It's happening. Believe it or not, about 1 in 10 Gen Z respondents in one study said they'd be open to tying the knot virtually yes, with rings, vows, and pixelated rice thrown in the air. For older generations, this all raises eyebrows. Can you really know someone you've never met in real life? Gen Z would argue define real. If you've laughed with someone, confided in them, built something together, even if it's a digital castle, and supported each other through screens, is that not real friendship? Sure, they might meet up on Discord or a game lobby instead of a diner or a bar, but the connection and camaraderie are genuine. In the early 2000s, a millennial might have called a best friend they met on an online forum their internet friend with a bit of embarrassment. In 2025, a Gen Z might have a best friend in another country they've only ever known via the metaverse, and they'll proudly just call them friend. The stigma of online relationships has faded as virtually everyone became an online person to some extent. Gen Z is just pushing the boundary of what that looks like, turning profiles into personalities, DMs into 3D hangouts, and showing that you can truly love, hurt, and grow through digital connections just like in person. What's next, and what's at stake? Fast forward a few years, a college freshman puts on AR glasses and joins her friends for a study session on a virtual campus floating above Mars. Afterwards, she heads to her part-time job designing virtual sneakers for a metaverse fashion brand. This isn't sci-fi. It's one vision of where we're headed. The future of socializing and work could be very intertwined with the metaverse. In fact, almost half of Gen Z believes their future careers will involve the metaverse in some way. New jobs are popping up: virtual real estate agents, selling digital land, VR event planners, organizing online concerts, 3D designers, creating avatar clothing lines. For Gen Z, who watched millennials turn YouTube and Instagram into careers, the metaverse is the next frontier for entrepreneurship and creativity. Want to open a bakery? Why not a virtual bakery that delivers fantastical pastries to your friends' avatars? Want to be an architect? There are already teenagers earning real money building elaborate virtual homes and game worlds. Opportunities in this space range from the obvious coding and tech development to the surprising psychologists, specializing in virtual behavior teachers in VR classrooms, tour guides for digital worlds. It's a bit like the early days of the internet all over again. No one's totally sure what will stick, but everyone senses something big is coming. Education could transform too. Instead of reading about ancient Rome, imagine walking through a realistic reconstruction of the Roman Forum in VR for history class. Or practicing Spanish by navigating a virtual marketplace in Mexico City, bargaining with NPCs, non-player characters that talk back. Gen Z learners already adept with technology could benefit from these immersive learning experiences that make abstract concepts tangible. During the pandemic, we got a taste of digital classrooms in the future that could evolve into virtual campuses where you teleport from chemistry lab to literature class, each in a themed environment that enriches learning. It's not just hype. Many schools and companies are actively exploring VR training simulations, and Gen Z employees might one day attend virtual orientation in a company metaverse office. For a generation used to Zoom and online collaboration, stepping into a virtual workspace might feel more engaging than staring at video tiles. But with great power, or at least great potential, comes great responsibility and risk. The metaverse could be amazing for connection, but it could also amplify problems we're already grappling with in today's digital life. Digital addiction is a big concern. If you think it's hard to put down your phone after doom-scrolling TikTok, imagine a world that is literally built to be captivating at every turn. The metaverse's immersiveness might make it even easier to lose track of time. There's a fine line between a fun escape and never wanting to log off. Some psychologists warn that what social media did to teen mental health, both the good and the bad, could be even more intense in VR. We might see deeper forms of escapism. Someone might prefer their perfect virtual life over the messy real world. That could lead to isolation or metaverse blues when one returns to reality. Loneliness could ironically persist or worsen if people neglect their face-to-face relationships entirely. As much as digital connections help, humans still need some IRL interaction, a hug, not just a haptic vest buzz. The challenge for Gen Z and all of us will be balancing the two. There's also the issue of inequality and access. Not everyone can afford VR headsets or high-speed connections. Millennials saw a digital divide with the internet. The metaverse could widen that gap if we're not careful. If social life, education, and jobs all start having one foot in virtual spaces, those who can't access them could get left behind. Imagine a future where not having a VR setup is like not having a smartphone today. You'd feel cut off. Gen Z is very aware of social justice and inclusion, so hopefully that translates into pushing for metaverse experiences that are accessible, maybe via phones or cheaper tech, and welcoming to all backgrounds. Today's social media already has issues: data mining, targeted ads, cyberbullying. Multiply that in a world where everything you do is online in 3D. Who owns the data of your avatar's daily routine, your gestures, your eye movements, the decor of your virtual bedroom? These could all be tracked. Companies might know even more about you unless new protections are in place. Gen Z is paradoxical here. They are savvy about digital privacy. They know what it means when an app asks for permissions, but they also share enormous chunks of their lives online. Navigating privacy in the metaverse will be a huge challenge. No one wants a future where, say, your conversation by a virtual campfire is monitored to serve you ads for marshmallows. And what about harassment? Unfortunately, trolls exist in every era. We've already seen incidents of harassment in VR platforms. Anonymity plus immersion can embolden bad behavior. Protecting users, especially kids and teens, from bullying or worse, like seeing inappropriate content or being targeted by predators, will be as important as ever. Gen Z might have thicker skin from growing up on the chaotic internet, but abuse in a hyper-realistic environment can still be traumatic. There's a reason many metaverse spaces are working on tools like personal safe bubbles or strict moderation. Finally, there's the big question: does the metaverse ultimately bring us together or pull us apart? Millennials remember how social media both connected high school friends and also made everyone stress about likes and FOMO. The metaverse could have a similar double edge. On one hand, it promises unprecedented social connection. Spend time with anyone, anywhere, in any fantastical setting. On the other, if it becomes our main way to socialize, do we risk losing something of the warmth of in-person life? No avatar handshake or virtual hug will fully replace the chemistry of real presence. But maybe it doesn't have to be either or. The likely scenario is the metaverse becomes an extension of our social lives, not a total replacement. It's a new tool. How we use it will determine if it's utopian or dystopian. Conclusion: in the end, whether you're a millennial reminiscing about the old days of chat rooms or a Gen Z building the future, one virtual block at a time, one thing remains constant: humans seek connection. No matter where we hang out, in a cafe, a Discord server, or a floating sky dome, the goal is the same: to feel less alone. Maybe the metaverse is just the next evolution of that timeless human need. It's easy to get caught up in the tech and the trends, but strip all that away, and the metaverse is really about people being together in new ways. It might seem like uncharted territory, and it is, but so was the telephone once, or the internet itself. Gen Z just happens to be the pioneer this time, figuring out the norms and etiquettes of a new social frontier. The rest of us can learn from their adventures, hopes, and mistakes. Only time will tell if the metaverse becomes as common as smartphones, or goes down as a short-lived hype. But one thing's for sure: Gen Z is living a chapter of social history that's equal parts Black Mirror cautionary tale and TED Talk optimism. And they're doing it with their characteristic humor, creativity, and inclusivity. So before we judge, maybe we should log in and see what all the fuss is about. Perhaps there's more warmth and community in these digital spaces than skeptics expect.